Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Exploring Your Future with Rich Bukowski. I am your host, Ali Muhammad, with Lifestyle After Five. And today's
Ali.
episode is titled AI Agents, what they are and how they can help you. Rich is going to dive deep and explore this new world with us. So, how you doing, Rich?
Well, we're all going to be having a bunch of AI agents waiting to help us out now.
Now, for many of the audience, I know they're going to say, what the hell is an AI agent? It's almost like a secret agent or something with the CIA. So let's explain that.
But what a good definition for for AI agent is an autonomous or semi-autonomous software that entitles a user AI techniques to perceive, make decisions, and take actions to achieve a goal, either in a digital and physical environment. Okay, so there's a 4 or 5 different things that AI agents are responsible for, designed to do that just regular AI doesn't, right? So again, some AIs are just meant to kind of go into databases, you know, go chug in, dig in, scrape, find what it needs to find, and kind of come back,
Hmm.
and present information, kind of as is, right? What I do like about what you said was it kind of what you're sharing here is it's, what that those parts of AIs require a lot of supervision, right?
Hmm.
They're very simple tasks, right? And they're very kind of static, right? I'm giving you information, you're kind of giving me back something information, right? I'm telling you to do
Hmm.
this, it's pretty simple, you're kind of bringing it back, right? I'm telling you, I'm watching you, you're giving it back to me. Agents are going to be very autonomous, as I, again, as I mentioned in in the definition, right? It's going to be doing very complex stuff, not kind of, again, very the simple stuff. And more importantly, it's going to learn, it's going to adapt to moving
Okay.
scenarios, moving situations, right? So, and so by definition, as I say, I'm kind of glad what you said, because it kind of just it's kind of like the anti-hero of what you would just kind of what you were saying, right? So it'll incorporate kind of bits and pieces of that into there, and I'll kind of go into that kind of a little, kind of a little different, right? So what and again, this will be very, a very kind of vanilla version of what an AI agent is going to be able to do, right? So an AI agent is going to
Hmm.
actually take kind of will be able to, do a lot of work both internal compositions, of what, again, the different examples about saying both, like, kind of inside the computer, inside, different, like, databases and things like that, and then also external databases, external machines, like if you even want to use cameras, sensors,
Hmm.
kind of, in different kind of learnings like that, different environments, both like real time, like real world, and virtual worlds, right? And then again, so let's just not get too complex in that, but just saying that it's very flexible, kind of in those kind of capabilities and tools on how that's how it can work. But again, it's going to be very independent.
Would you say
Go
Siri
ahead.
and Alexa would fall somewhere in those categories?
No, absolutely not. No, they're much closer to the assistant part. Again, by
Okay.
definition, right? They're just the digital assistants, right?
Basically, what you're saying is agents are not reactive, they proactive.
Right. They're very proactive. They're, so an agent. So now we're going to go actually kind of what an agent does, right? So an agent is going to do
Hmm.
this. An agent's going to be able to plan a scenario. Let's kind of leave it as that, right? Then kind of interact with various different tools to
Hmm.
achieve a goal, right? Um, have access to memory right? And then take action, right? So let's just leave it. So, there will be, so we'll go back to plan, right? So there will be some
Mhm.
type of plan, right? So which is basically, a goal, right? Well, we'll go back and I'll have like a real example to that, and right. So we'll have a goal, and it's going to then say, okay, here's a goal, and then break down that goal in supercomputer way. Try to figure out 5 or 6 different ways to achieve that goal, right? So
Mhm.
we do it as humans, right? Sometimes we do it, consciously or unconsciously, right? So we're like, okay, I need to, you know, again, you know, figure out, where, a good place to live, right? Or just pick a neighborhood I want to live in, right? So I'm going to go
Mhm.
to, you know, different websites, Zillow, this, that. I'm going to like check that out. I'm going to look for places that are within my, range of, that I can afford, right? Then I could,
Mhm.
start looking at different places, another kind of database, and I'll look at the police reports, right? Then I'll kind of go
Mhm.
into, comments, and it'll kind of take different, so any kind of goal strategies that are around,
Mhm.
right? It'll have and be able to, use and process in computer microseconds, right? Also, it'll notice, okay, let's just kind of say that. So let's just say it knows probably 10 different ways to reach this goal, right? So then, and again, it'll break it down and have it kind of sitting in it, So then it, so that's one thing, right? So it's kind of one
Okay.
thing, and let's just say it has 10 different ways to reach that goal, right? So that's one.
Mhm.
So then the next thing is it has an opportunity and skill sets to interact with tools, right? Now again, these are dictated depending on its programming and again things like that. And so it'll say, okay, I can I can access the internet, right? And I
Mhm.
is the agent. I could access specific databases that I have access to. So, like, let's just say there's a company, right? And it can access its own database, right? So its own database of its own users, right? Its own history, its own
Mhm.
this, its own that, right? It doesn't have to kind of go out, whatever. It can, go out and invent an API and start processing things on its own there. And if it doesn't have its API, it could go out and purchase it, and then bring it into the system, then start processing
Wow.
it, and then
I
add
can see
that
that.
into it, and then kind of go and add that to its internal database that it has access to and the internet. Use all of
I
that,
can see
in,
that disrupting supply
right?
chains across many industries.
Right. So it has now all these kind of, so it has, and again, I just scratched the surface, right? So, and then again, and it has a dictated interaction rate, kind of thing like that. Now you can kind of say, go access, a bunch of cameras from around the world, and, or, go access, yesterday's, what in the news. I only want to know what happened yesterday, right? Kind of for my decision making process, whatever like that. So again, it has multiple goals, and again, if it has to, again, there's that. And again, if this goal, if I mean, goal one program didn't work, I'm going to go to goal two. Goal two didn't work. I'm going to go, goal process two didn't work. I'm going to go to goal number three, right? And I want to use all those, all the information that I can interact with all my tools to make sure that I can reach that goal. Okay. So now this next step it has is memory. Right now, it could remember everything that, and again, of all of the things that it of the first two steps, right? And that's again something that your agents don't. I mean, your digital assistants don't have. No one. I mean, the other things don't have, right? Like your AI systems kind of have, but they don't have it for the fact that it's not learning, right?
Mhm.
So with every one of those things, with the planning scenarios, with all of the interactions, with all the tools and all the data. So let's just say within all the kind of breakdowns of all the databases, it learned that it needs to kind of go into this one specific direction. It's going to go and readjust all of its programming, right? To just focus on this one thing because it's achieving its goal with it, right? And it's going to remember that. So it has a specific learning memory database, right? And then
That that
and to sit and optimize itself from its own memory in real time, right? However, since it's meant to be dynamic, it's also learned to forget, because if it learns that what it has done, or the information that it has is not relevant, or another way you want to look at it is that the scenarios have changed, time has changed, right? Like, we have moved on. We got a wacko president that has now changed everything for us. Those first two things, our goals have changed. All the information that I have now interacted with has changed. It knows enough in its memory database to forget everything that it's done, right? And go and start over again, right? And start using different techniques now. And don't fall back on what it used before, right? So it has enough sense to forget what worked before and start learning again. So that memory capacity is incredible. The learning. So it both learns and forgets. And we do that too, right? That's what our short and long-term memory is for, right? We don't remember everything that we see, right? All the time, right? And then when we realize we're not getting anywhere, we're like, okay, we're done. Like everything I just learned, or this or that, it's out the window. I got to start over again, right? It knows that, through enough information that it needs to start over again, or it needs only half of the information, or kind of something like that. And
that
then,
sounds incredible, Rich.
and then hold on, we're not done. And then its actual
Okay.
plan, again, well, what it's meant to do is take action, right? So by definition, it's meant to do something. It's meant to be autonomous, right? So it's meant to, without your direction, without anything like that, is to take some kind of action, right? So either to build a report, send an email, manage some kind of new software that it needs to develop another artificial intelligence program to, to manage another kind of system, right? Again, these are four little things, whatever. Again, it's unlimited, right? So, in that memory, it had, again, some kind of special thing, or it learned some kind of something from some third party database, so that was up to date, and whatever like that, has taken all these things in real time computer super microseconds, and has kind of taken all that kind of stuff and
Wow.
has become that's your agent, right? So now you got all that kind of going on. There are agents who monitor agents, right? So within the agent itself, there is a performance metric, right? Sometimes they're
Mhm.
known as um, critics, right? So it'll kind of go like kind of right before the action, right? It'll say, um, does this measure up to what you're like, to what the expectation is? Is the information that's kind of coming in not making any sense? should I now go back to my human and report, right? Or, is it pretty enough to kind of like to generate the report, or does it make sense, you know? And we're kind of used to some of the critique, if you want to like on the way, if you want to kind of stepping back to how GAI worked with some of the how some of the stuff happened with uh, some of the image technology stuff that we had in artificial intelligence, like in the newer versions, right? Like, a long time
Mhm.
ago, you would say, "Hey, give me a picture of a dog," right? And it would kind of go into a database and look for all the dogs, and it would kind of come back with a dog, right? The latter
Mhm.
versions, or the versions that we have now, would kind of go through this critique version, and they were like, "Give me a picture of a dog that is something that a human would like." So it'd be like a soft dog or a cute dog, right? Or, kind of something like that. And then start generating those type dogs, right? Instead of just plain old dog, right? And
Mhm.
then, a dog that a human would like, again, would like, right? A pretty dog, kind of something like that. So an agent has those kind of built-in requirement or capabilities themselves too, right? And and again, it will learn, based on its memory, that that's something that is acceptable. It's something that it wants. Or it's that it has monitored over time. Um, there are other things. Again, I kind of have skipped that. There's an actual orchestrator in there. There's actually another
Mhm.
kind of piece, another modeling system, another LLM in there that orchestrates all this. That kind of is like another
Mhm.
manager in there that is kind of taking all this information, like the research guy, and taking all this and an editor and kind of putting it in, and he'll, okay, I now have enough out, and so, and then do it again, right? And so then it'll kind of send it back and said, what, we got halfway through, this isn't working, I'm not reaching my goal, let me go back to the beginning and say, okay, what's another way I can achieve this goal, right? And so it'll go and find, okay, let me try a different technique. And maybe I'll call everybody, right? And it'll call everybody. It'll go back to the interaction tool and go into the internal database and find everybody's phone number. And then kind of go back and start accessing telephones, or an IP phone, and call everybody. And make believe that it's, it'll use a human interface voice and say, "Hi, I'm Frank from your company, and I
It's like
want
the
to know, do you like
robocalls.
blue or red?" "Oh, I like red." "Oh, great." And it'll collect all that information, right? Put it into memory, and all that kind of stuff. Go back, write it, send it to the report writer, and it'll say, it'll have enough information, and then take action. So it'll say, "You know what? I don't even have to send a report. I will now independently send this directly to the production group and start making red t-shirts." Right? There's no reason to kind of go and tell a human this. If 99% of everyone I just called said, "I want red," right? There's that autonomous aspect of it, right?
Mhm.
I don't need to tell a human, right? There's a rule
Yeah.
in there somewhere that says, okay, if it passed over 75%, 85%, I don't give a shit. Just stop making red t-shirts, right?
Do you
So
have to
it kind
be
of goes like that.
do you have
So,
to be super tech savvy to operate a AI agent?
well, there's a certain amount of, I guess, software development. However, that is required.
Mhm.
However, an agent could write that for you. right now. So no, right? So you can now buy an agent to write an agent,
Now,
right?
to the people at
So
home,
again, so
I know they're probably intimidated because all this is fascinating, but it's intimidating at the same time and very scary. Like I said, we got a lot of change going on right now in our lives. New president, new administration, AI is taking over, jobs could be lost. So, what is your message to the people at home? Should they get involved? Is something they should prepare for?
well, I guess yes. I mean, and I hope they're not waiting for me to tell them that, right? Like, I mean, there's got to be a wave of information kind of coming around, kind of, mentioning that, you know, AI is in the game. AI is.
But
I
when we
don't. I
hear
don't
AI,
particularly
it's
say
like
it's
general.
kind of
People don't realize
taking
the
over.
different components to AI. Like people by now have heard of AI, but I don't. The average person, I don't believe, know the difference between when you mention AI. Okay, that can break in. It's broad, you know. Like you said, AI agent. I don't think most people understand until now. When you break it down, what an AI agent is, I probably never even heard the term AI agent. You know, when you get into machine learning and large language models, this is a dictionary change. I mean, you look at you, we adding few pages of, if not a paragraph, to the dictionary now that didn't exist a few years ago.
Oh, a few years ago, I would say about 6 months ago.
Well,
I mean,
mm,
I I knew, like I was saying, like I used it to, like I don't want to toot my own horn or anything like that, but I like to say like
toot your own horn, Rich. Let them know who you
you
are.
know like no, 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 like the term like I like used was when I I'm an accredited futurist, right? So we
There
talked
you go.
about AI agents, a
An
couple of years
accredited
ago, right?
futurist.
So I'm an accredited, yeah, yeah, I'm certified, right? So uh, when I, in future band camp, when we were studying this, it, we talked a little bit more about like, a little bit more at home, an example of that, and I guess one way, if you want to look at it, is Jarvis from the Marvel movies, right? Jarvis is an AI agent, right? If anybody, do you follow Marvel
I
movies?
I I don't follow Marvel a lot. I know some of the
Oh, okay, all right.
characters.
So, okay, all right. So, like Iron Man, right? Like the character Iron Man had, an assistant. Let's just kind of, and he ran like, well, Tony Stark, really, the guy, and it kind of ran his house, right? And then it kind of ran his suit, this, and then it ran his company, right? Uh, and it did all these things, but it didn't kind of run to any human and asked, you know, it did it all. You just told it what to do, and it went and did it, right? So the example that we were using, and again, it was much more of a consumer, and expect it to be a consumer agent as well one day, right? So the an example that we were using, and I was using on the field would be you would go like at some point we would have everything in our home, and this specific scenario was your clothes in your closet. It would be tagged, right, through whatever new technologies that were kind of going on, right? um so your AI agent would know all your clothes in your closet, right? And it would know after whatever 8 months that you didn't wear your red jacket,
Mhm.
and you probably either going to be outgrowing it or you didn't like it anymore or kind of something like that. And it would then sell it while you were at work, right? But you would say, sell anything I'm not wearing after 8 months out into the work, like again, into the ether of the internet, eBay, whatever, wherever you want, wherever you can kind of go, right? And I'm also looking for a blue jacket tickets to a concert, you know, well, let's just say eggs. I need, a couple of eggs, some cereal, and all this kind of stuff, right?
Mhm.
So it'll kind of go out and start bartering, buying, kind of start, making all these kind of changes. So you'll come home from work and there'll be a shipping label in your printer, and you'll kind of get up and say, hey, you know what, package your red jacket. Someone's coming, they're coming to pick it up, and tomorrow you'll have your tickets to your show. Like there'll be kind of all these things. Like your agent will kind of go out and be negotiating all these
We're
things.
kind of getting to that with the refrigerators. I know the newer refrigerators now knows everything that's in your refrigerator by compartment. It knows that you got milk
Mhm.
here, eggs here in this location, and when you're running out, running low, or whatever. So it's not much for the refrigerator to be paired with, I don't know, DoorDash, Amazon, or some shopping shopping app or whatever program, and you never buy grocery
Right.
again. It's like you come home and it's like the refrigerator know you out of eggs, and it's an already ordered eggs for you, and they on your doorstep when you get home.
Absolutely right. So using our example, like again, the main action, like the main definition, right? So there's a plan,
Mhm.
right, which is to scan watch the inside of my refrigerator and make sure that I have my basics, right? So that's the plan. That's my goal of my agent, my refrigerator agent, right? I'm saying in this scenario,
Mhm.
right? And so it interacts with the camera inside my refrigerator. So that's the tools based kind of thing. Any other kind of sensitive, maybe, I don't know, thermometers or anything else that kind of might be kind of going on there, or whatever. Early digital world too, we were also interacting, like it could also interact with like your social calendar, your recipes. You can also say, hey, by the way, I got some friends coming over on Thursday, right? I want to make this dish, and I want to have beer, and I want to have this, and I want to have that, right? Uh, you know, and
So,
then,
Rich, I got $1 million idea that just came up.
it,
With the technology, I got $1 million idea and what you just said. What if your refrigerator
all
is
right.
your AI
Okay.
agent
Okay.
knew what you had? It knows what you got in your refrigerator. It knows you got pork chops, steak, whatever you got in there. What if you hit a button and daily your refrigerator look at the ingredients you got in there and suggested meals and recipes for you each day? Because that's the biggest
Yep.
conversation that people have. What are we gonna eat today? I don't know what I want, but your refrigerator know what you got, and based off what you got, these are the meals that
Yeah.
you can whip up and what we get and what you got in your kitchen. Yeah, I suggest you eat these meals right here.
Right.
That's a Nobel Peace Prize right
And,
there.
and again, think about that moving memory that it has, right? So it knows that, uh, tap into, our regular cookbook, and also go into the internet database for, whatever, food.com, or, wherever,
And also tell you when the
southernCooking.com or
mayonnaise has
wherever like that,
expired and
right?
your salad dressings have expired. That's another problem that at least I suffer with. Like, oh
Yeah.
man, this expired 4 months ago. Really? I thought it was good. I never opened it.
Yeah. So, and then, right, and then go take action, right? And so it's not going to
Yeah.
go and like ask you to send you a text and say, hey, I found, hey, your salad dressing is going to be expired tomorrow. Should I go buy something? It's just going to do it, right? So it's just going to go do it. It's all autonomous and stuff like that, right? And hopefully it's doing shit that you don't even know, like, or whatever like that. Or or hopefully, like in some of my other writings and other kind of forecasts, it's going to tap into maybe your health, database. and it's gonna say, "Hey, Ellie, hey, you put on a little weight there, bro. Maybe we should,
Yeah.
let's move this to low cal. Let's just add a couple of salads to this
You lying
diet
to
or
everybody
something,
else like you're not
whatever like
eating
that."
that much, but we know how much you've been eating. You ate all the leftovers, and the chicken stop lying. It's calling you out. "Oh, look, why do we have cake in here? You know you 20 pounds overweight. Why is there cupcake sitting in here?"
Yeah, yeah, or and yeah, so yes, it's kind of like, again, there you go. So add another component, again, to your agent on that, right? And so so I guess are some of the questions that might become, are we giving up too much, to, like, to the computer, you know, I, you know, I, you know, I'm going to go with no. If it has my best interest in heart, you know, I don't have to follow it, whatever like that, whatever. And again, they're meant to be, you know, again, if it's designed to be personal, right? It's designed to be, in your favor, right? Like, um,
I like it so far. Like I said,
and
I like a lot of the technology things is making life easier. Things that would take me
right,
hours to think of and work out and do, AI and some of the agents are able to help me out in seconds, minutes.
as a futurist, again, I'm an imagination guy, right? Let's kind of how else can we take this out? Like, I like to, like, how about if we can get, like, what if everyone is connected in some forms, like everyone's refrigerator or kind of something like that, and we start buying in bulk, right? Like either your block or your building, right? Or, like kind of your town. We can start buying discounts, right? Like, or kind of things like that,
Hmm.
or how about, like, that way I know I can hook up the lady downstairs who don't have a lot of money or whatever like that, and she can kind of take my credits, right? I can make sure that she always has milk, right? Or kind of something like that. Like, remember that pyramid that we were talking about? Like, make sure everybody's got
Yes.
their basics kind of taken care
Muscle.
of, right? So how about we tell an agent to make sure everyone has milk, in my building, right? And then, go and find the right goal, use that plan, you know, find 1,000 different ways to work that out, right? To make sure that, that happens. And we don't, you and I only can, have the time and space and all that kind of shit, right? To work out 3 different ways to figure out how we can come up with cheap milk, right? But an agent's got nothing to do all day but just sit there and try to figure out best way to make that happen. Yeah. So just kind of take that exponentially for everything, right? So I have another example. I'm sorry, you have a question?
Oh no, I was just thinking about that. That's kind of good and scary at the same time. I know, like with as we spoke in the past with like smart cities that's got cameras all over. They're just sitting there and they're just looking and watching and monitoring for crime. And then the minute that the
Right.
camera spots something, or a felon, or you don't have car insurance or driver's license, and it's reading everything. And the minute that it sees something that it doesn't like, it automatically alerts an officer
Okay.
and
Um,
tracks you.
okay. Yeah, again, there is that. I mean, if you want to count that as a double-edged sword, you're not supposed to be driving around with no insurance, right? So you are
That's
guilty.
true.
So, right, yeah. Um, again, you could put one, in there to help you, right? Like, or again, I don't think they're meant to, like. I just don't think human nature is really meant to sit there and, like, kind of poke you down or whatever like that. But um, you know, who knows where this all takes us, right? Like, again, I'm hoping the agents know better. But again, when we watch the news and you got weirdos sitting as
We don't
presidents,
know better,
you know,
so how can it know better?
right? But I want to share another example. Again, very
Yeah, go ahead.
basic
Share your example.
one. Again, very another autonomous, kind of version of it. It might be a little spooky. I don't know, or whatever. But it is something that's going on in Asia, because of this isn't legal in North America and or England or in Europe, but it's done with you knew that drones was going to come in here somewhere. I mean, you already kind of said it yourself, right?
Hmm.
So there's this um, soft drink company who puts out drones and sends them out to the beaches, right? And it kind of flies around, and it has software on the drones that recognizes logos on bottles that people are drinking, right? So it's kind of flying
Hmm.
around, and it recognizes kind of who is drinking what, right? So if it's water or soda, again, it's irrelevant really, but just they're drinking something, kind of. And so the drone, through this, again, through an agent, or there's an agent that's monitoring or kind of running this. So the drone itself is a tool, right? It's kind of the interaction tool, right? So the drone then recognizes, kind of in mass, what everyone is drinking by recognizing the logo, sends it to a database. It then it's kind of working, and it'll say a lot of people on this beach are are drinking Coca-Cola, right? Just again for the sake of this conversation. Um, you know, um, no need to you know, uh, you know, change production, delivery. We kind of, or actually, a lot of people are drinking Coca-Cola on this beach. Increase shipping to these areas to to restack, right?
Okay.
Or there's not anyone drinking Coca-Cola in these areas. Contact marketing and have them increase their messaging in this demographic or this area, or kind of, or do all this, all without anyone, any kind of human interaction or anything like that kind of going on. Again, very basic,
That's awesome.
right? But it is kind of, again, interacting like with you know other machines, like with other, kind of with other groups. It's kind of sending reports. It's saying, everybody in South Beach, not one person is drinking our shit. you know we got to start doing stuff, sending coupons, start doing this, skywriting, whatever, kind of whatever like that. Or, hey, we're going to run out of that stuff there, start, moving some trucks, start, putting more, moving, start moving some more product. So again, the very kind of basic, kind of understanding on kind of how an agent might work, but that's an agent's job now.
Cool. Well, Rich, our time is winding down. Do you got any last thoughts?
Well, yeah, I'm no, again, I was trying to be positive. Again, let's, make these things positive. Like,
Hmm.
getting, again, as in getting involved, like you're saying, like, what you're saying with your demographic, with your listeners. Uh, you know, this isn't a secret. There are ways to get, kind of getting involved with this. From just looking it up on YouTube to finding out who are the main agent developers, right? There's about 6 or 7 of them right now, who are, I guess if you want to call them, pre-built agent makers, you know. Um, and again, it's kind of up to your listeners or kind of watchers on how they want to get involved. Um, it's really in kind of an untapped, kind of, opportunity, kind of for them, and they could kind of always, I guess, reach out to us, for any kind of specifics or kind of something like that, or if they want more information, for us to take it to the next level, or kind of something like that.
Cool. Well, I want to thank you, Rich, as always, for coming on and doing the show. I want to thank you all out there for watching Explore Futurism with Rich Bukowski. AI is here to help
Woohoo!
you, and you're in control. I want you to stay smart, stay curious, and let's see how it transforms your life. Until next time, first of all, like and subscribe. This time and next time. But until then, y'all take care, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
All right, be well, everyone.